Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Dave's Faves. And as promised, it's time for another Dave's Faves opera. And boy, if I got one hell of an opera. It is Franz Schreker's Die Gezeichneten. Now, what is a Gezeichneten? Well, Gezeichneten means branded or marked. And I don't mean branded as in like commercial branded, like Alpo dog food or Pampers or Beech Nut sugarless gum or that kind of branded. It's not that kind of branded. It's branded as in a cow, as in marked for doom, marked for destruction. It's just, not a happy opera, but oh, it's so beautiful. Schreker was one of those fin de siècle psycho-decadence guys. And my God, could he write operas and orchestral music to clothe them. It's amazing. Schreker's years were, 1878 to 1934. He actually was head of the Hochschule für Musik in Berlin, the conservatory in Berlin, and he was removed from his post when the Nazis came to power, and the stress caused a heart attack, basically, and he died. He wasn't that old, but his music is just, it's so much fun. And he wrote these big psychosexual opera things, and you've got to hear the plot. The plot for this is just, wait a minute, I'm going to read you the plot. It's unbelievable. Let me see here. Let's get to the plot, shall we? Okay. Here we are. Synopsis. Where's the synopsis? It's here somewhere. Oh, there it was. I think I just missed it. Okay. Franz Schreker. The trouble is they have this in 67 different languages. Handlung. Okay, so we have it in English. Where's the English one? I'll find it. Oh, yeah, here's the English one. Okay, synopsis. Are you ready? Here we go. In 16th century Genoa, Alviano Salvago, a young nobleman, hunchbacked and deformed, naturally, but full of sensual and artistic longing, naturally, has created an island paradise called Elysium, which he himself avoids for fear his ugliness would spoil its beauty, naturally. Of course, Alviano has decided to transfer ownership of the island to the city, and soon afterwards he learns that his friends, a group of dissolute young nobles, have been using an underground grotto on the island to celebrate orgies with young women abducted from prominent Genoese families. No, I'm not going to say it again. Amid the protests of his friends, Alviano awaits the mayor, the podesta, Ludovico Nardi, and members of the Senate to conclude the formalities of the transfer of the property. Meanwhile, Count Vitellozzo Tamare, as in soy sauce, tamare? Tamare arrives late and out of breath. That's because he's just been at the grotto doing you-know-what. He is little interested in his friend's agitated pleas because he is overwhelmed by the beauty of an unknown young woman he has just encountered. At that moment, the podesta arrives with his entourage, introducing his daughter, Carlotta, who Tamare recognizes as his beautiful unknown. While the podesta and Alviano exchange pleasantries, Tamare draws Carlotta aside. Her cryptic responses to his advances entice and infuriate him, and he leaves in haste as Alviano leads the guests into a banqueting hall. Okay, that's like scene one. In a comic interlude, the noble's henchman, Pietro, concocts an elaborate story to convince Martuccia, Alviano's housekeeper, to hide one of the abducted young women. Martuccia, ignorant of the true facts, agrees. Ooh. Now, Carlotta, having feigned indisposition, naturally, emerges from the banquet hall with Alviano. She tells him she is a painter whose greatest ambition is to capture on canvas the human soul, and that she wants Alviano as her model. He recoils at the idea, certain that she is mocking his ugliness. Carlotta persists, saying that from her studio on the outskirts of town, she has often observed Alviano in his lonely early morning walks in the countryside. She sensed the soaring beauty of his longing one morning when she saw him erect, arms outstretched, greeting the morning sun. Her portrait of him in this attitude is nearly finished and lacks only the details of his countenance. Confused and overwhelmed with emotion, Alviano agrees to come to her studio. All right, so that's Act 1. Now, you know what's going to happen, don't you? And what is going to happen is very, very straightforward, and we don't need to waste more time on it. What is going to happen is that Tamari kidnaps her and has his way with her, and once she's had sex, she can no longer see Alviano's soul, because she loses her ability to perceive spiritual beauty. Because despite the fact that Carlotta has a heart condition and can't have sex because it would risk her life, she really had a good time. She enjoyed it. She's kind of like Gilda in Rigoletto. You know, she gets raped, but at the same time, she sort of falls in love with her abductor. Well, that's what happens with Carlotta. And so when she next sees Alviano, I mean, she's on her deathbed, of course, because having sex kills her. And she's on her deathbed, and she sees Alviano, and she recoils from him in horror at his ugliness, and Alviano goes insane. So there you go. What a terrific plot. Can you believe it? And the music is glorious, absolutely glorious. Now, one of the reasons I decided to do this now, frankly, is because last night I was watching Jeopardy! And every so often, you know, Jeopardy! Has a classical music category. And I love, you know, watching the category. And the 400 is double Jeopardy! Actually. The $400 question just threw me. It was the opera Die Gezeichneten. Like anybody on Jeopardy! Or anywhere else for that matter is going to know what that is. The opera Die Gezeichneten is famous for having the longest one of these before the opera begins. Well, you don't have to know anything about Die Gezeichneten to know that they're talking about an overture, which was the answer, which nobody got, which just blew my mind. But it was the overture. Anyway, they claim Die Gezeichneten has the longest operatic overture of anything ever in the history of mankind. Well, that's simply not true. As some of you may know, because I've described it and played samples of it, Schreker wrote a piece called Prelude to a Drama, Vorspiel zu einem Drama, or something like that, whatever it's called in German. It's about 18, 19, 20 minutes long. It's somewhere in there. It is a tone poem elaborated from the prelude to Die Gezeichneten. But the actual prelude to the opera is only 10 minutes long, and it runs directly into the first act without pause. The rest of the work came later, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with this as an overture. I mean, as a prelude to the opera. The music is all derived from the opera. It's almost like a suite or one of Strauss's, you know, symphonic fantasies from like Die Frau in Schatten or something. It takes the tunes from the opera and blows it up into a symphonic composition. So Jeopardy! Was wrong. And if anybody here does Jeopardy! And they're watching this, I want to tell you that answer, because you have to ask a question in Jeopardy!, remember, was incorrect. On its face, Die Gezeichneten only has a 10-minute long overture, which is just as long as Rossini's La Gazza Ladra or, you know, 100 other overtures you could name. It's not in any way unusual. It was a sensibly proportioned prelude to this fabulously decadent and sometimes a little cheesy opera. And I just wanted to make that point. I wonder who those people at Jeopardy! Are. Because I could just see someone like sitting in a room saying, you know, they got a record, maybe Joanne Folletta's fabulous Schreker disc on Naxos that has this on it, or Michael Gielan, one of his 2 or 3 recordings of it. And they said, oh my goodness, it's a prelude to a drama. The drama is called Die Gezeichneten. Therefore, it's the overture to Die Gezeichneten. Well, it's not. It absolutely isn't. And so I just couldn't resist. Anyway, this performance, by the way, this has been recorded a few times. There's a very good video actually of it, and this is the best version out there. It features the Deutsches Symphonie-Orchester Berlin under Lothar Zagrosek, And the cast is wonderful. It's Heinz Kruse and Elizabeth Connell and Monty Peterson and a bunch of really other good singers. It's part of that Decca and Arte de Musik series. I believe this went out of print but was reissued at a lower price because I have the reissue sitting over there somewhere, if memory serves. So it may even still be available. But wow, what a beautiful opera. And if you love The Prelude to a Drama by Schreker and you love opera, then you'll want to hear the whole sucker. You really will. You won't be sorry. It's absolutely tremendous. So that's the story. And shame on you, Jeopardy. You are absolutely, I mean, how dare you tell all of humanity, the millions watching, that Die Gezeichneten has the longest overture of any opera. I mean, come on. All they had to do was look at the timing on the actual recording. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.